But stay, I want to say hello and good morning to everybody joining on the onlines. So yeah, would you be willing to slide that shut for me, please? I appreciate it. So we'll just like energetically hold space for at least a couple more people that I know are outside, and I know that they're going to be coming in a moment. So we're just going to hold that space. So I'm Jane, and this is Expansions. So this is the spiritual dimension of wellness, which is my absolute favorite because it can be anything. Because to me, spirituality is the unseen. It's how we treat ourselves, it's how we treat others, and it's how we connect to something bigger. It's how we have joy and love and pleasure and creativity in our life. To me, that's what spirituality is. So before we kind of drop in, I'm curious, when I say spirituality, what do you all like? What comes to your mind? What do you think of when I say spirituality?
I'm not a real religious person, but I'm a spiritual person. My well-being, other people's well-being, the way I live, the type of life that I live, it's more good than bad. I'm trying to explain it. I'm not real religious, but I live a spiritual life. I got the will. I know how to explain it.
You are though.
Yeah, it's just the well-being. It's a way of life for me. It's a way of life. It's a good way of life. Like I said, the well-being of other people, the well-being of myself. I know what I want to say, but I don't have words.
I love what you've shared so far.
Yeah.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that. Because to me, spirituality also is a way of life. You know, to me, religion was always rules.
Right.
And spirituality is a way of being. So it's like rules are stopping, being is outward, right? And to me, that's what spirituality is. Good morning. What is spirituality to you when I say spirituality? I'm curious what you think. What is spirituality to y'all when I say spirituality?
Pretty much it.
Yeah.
Pretty much, y'all pretty much said it. I mean, basically that's what.
Yeah. Same for you.
Just being trying to be a good person.
Yeah.
That's what they say.
Do you consciously apply spirituality in your life?
Constantly?
Consciously?
Oh, consciously. Yeah, I actually think about trying to do it.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you. What about you, Rodney? What does spirituality, when I say that, what is that for you?
I believe in the parallel part of it. There's the infinite parallel universe of how I am in that universe. And I connect, touch in it because it changes with me. I don't know about anyone else. But you know what I'm saying? I could believe in one way at one time in my life, and then another part of my life, I'm like picking up on another kind of vibe and putting that into my life. And that has changed. And right now, I'm in the now. I mean, yeah, I heard you say be in the now.
Yeah.
I got to be in the now to experience one of those parallel universes that I come in contact with and use that spirituality.
Nice.
Yeah, to help me in the problems that I gotta go through in this life.
In this now. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Spirituality being an awareness of this now, you know, that we have all these other possibilities and what do we do in this now? And that shows up as how we're being, right? So I'm asking, what does spirituality mean to you? Before we just kind of drop in, since this is Expansions, spirituality, what is spirituality to you?
Spirituality to me is combined with my higher power and trying to do the things you're talking about, having faith and trust, which I've gotten better about, living in today. I have to keep reminding myself, if I live in today, everything's okay. Because I believe that if I put out good spirit vibes, my day's gonna go just fine with my higher power. I also think, what else do I think that's good? I'm making it a new year for me, and so my spirit vibes, I'd like to see them in color. And so I'm trying to put color out there on a daily basis. Of course, spirituality for me is to not think about myself and try to help others. Spirituality is what I live, eat, and breathe every day. That's what it is to me.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Alan, what about you? What is spirituality to you?
It's a concept I'm trying to grasp. Not having been brought up believing in God, it's a major challenge. So I'm seeking it with everyday experiences. I'm not sure, but my background is, well, again, no concept of spirituality, religion, nothing. That was not the way I was brought up. But now I feel the need. Somehow there's a higher power. Somehow it's hard to believe, but I want to go there. That's the best way I can put it.
Nice. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
I love that. A concept that you're trying to grasp. That sounds about like what spirituality is. Like if you think about we'll use the word God for a minute, whether it resonates or not, replace it with your own, whatever. The universe, the creator, prime creator, whatever the word is. They're all welcome. Okay. No matter what, all the words are welcome for the higher power, always, no judgment. But the concept of God to grasp, to wrap our mind around, to understand, that's an impossibility. We can't literally grasp the everything, right? Our mind is very tiny. We can't wrap our mind around the infinite. Even the concept of the infinite, we can't fully understand. We can't fully grasp that. We can't really get eternity, eternal, forever, the infinite. We can't even understand that. So that's why I like spirituality so much, is because it's a concept that we will never really understand.
Spirituality?
Yeah, we'll never understand it. We'll think we have understandings, and that's what we hold on to, and that's what we live by, and that's what we show up as. But it's never something that we're fully like, I get it. I know it I know everything about this. Because we can't, because it's infinite.
In the energy that creates, problem solving. I mean, what spirit, that got me so, in tune with this, to make this happen, to get this done, to achieve this, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get some kind of pump motivation, You don't even know where it's drawn from, but the concept is it's working.
Yeah, a proof of, right? A proof of is, well, it works. The proof is, well, it feels good. Well, it got me through a hard time. Well, the proof is a feeling. And the funny thing about proving a feeling is that I can say that it felt peaceful to me.
Mm-hmm.
And it may not feel peaceful to you. It may feel like joy to you. It may feel like harmony to you. It may feel like balance to you. But we could all be feeling the same. We could all be feeling that same infinite energy, that same spirit, that same God source. But we're going to call it by a different name, just even the way we feel it in our bodies, right? So
identify as something.
I know.
It got me through.
I know. To me, it's the understanding that we can't identify the undefinable. We can't identify the undefinable.
Good word.
I need to remember that one. If anybody wants to write that down, can you write that down for me?
Good word.
Like, somebody can write that down for me. That'd be great. The inability to identify the undefinable.
Mhm.
Kim, would you write that down for me?
I got
Oh,
it. Yeah.
okay.
Please.
I'm just like in a different world here. What was it now?
Undefinable.
The inability
Wait a minute. Inability
to identify The undefinable.
Yeah.
The
Thanks.
undefinable.
Yeah. Thank you. Like, that feels really good. I want to remember that one. Thank you so much. Mama Jane's on here. She says feeling is a perfect description of spirituality. Yeah. So I'd like to just let us feel for a minute. So that may mean that you just feel your body, you just feel your breath, you just feel the present moment, or you just feel the sound of the tingshes as you take a breath in and just let it go. For the next few breaths, just allow yourself to feel. Maybe you feel the weight of you. The lightness of you. The steadiness of your own breath. The feeling that you matter. That your voice matters. That your life matters. The feeling of love that you are. The feeling of love that you have to offer in this world. The way your smile lights up a room. The way your hugs mean the world to people. Feel your next breath in come in really big. And just let it go. So now we're here. Now we're literally on the same frequency. I love conversations around spirituality because they're never wrong. My only rules of engagement on this topic is that we are in radical acceptance for everyone's beliefs.
We are in what?
Radical acceptance for everyone's beliefs. That we hold zero judgment for what anyone expresses around their beliefs and what words they use. And that we allow everyone some space to share, and also being mindful that we all get the space to share, if that feels good. So something that came up for me today and recently, so I'm doing this, I have a lot of spiritual practices that I do in my daily life. And one of them, the focus is on, this may sound weird, okay? Just letting you know, this may sound weird. It's around death and joy. And it brings us into the now every time. Has anyone ever experienced somebody dying that you love?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm not the only one.
No, I'm wishing
So-
someone was dead.
Yep. We don't, I mean, yeah. Sometimes if we could speed up the hands of time for others, But that feeling of when somebody dies, that grief, and it's what I find really fascinating about death is that when someone dies that we love, nothing else matters. I don't care about what the weather's doing. I don't care about what time I need to be at work. I can't think about what I need to feed anyone else. I can barely think about what I need to eat. All I know is I am in an experience in this now that I cannot get out of, right? Death will bring us into the present moment like nothing else. It'll make us look on the past with more light than we normally would. Normally we look on the past with a lot of judgment, but when we have a death here and we look back at the past, say of the person that died, we look back with so much love and compassion and grace in our hearts because we're like, oh my God, that was it. And then we start to maybe value our own life a little bit more. We're like, oh my God, life is not forever. Energy is forever. Life itself is forever, but the body that I'm in is not. And so then we start to really land in this idea and concept of impermanence, that nothing is permanent. Everything is always changing and going through a cycle of life, right? It's going to go through the birth. It's going to go through the life. It's going to go through the death. And then it's going to go through the rebirth. Everything in life and nature and energy does that, right? Our emotions do that. We get a feeling. We keep it. It starts to shift. and then we don't have it anymore. Right? Think about a relationship. Oh my God, I'm in a new relationship. It's the birth of relationship. It's so good. Oh my God. And then we're in it and we're like, this is just coasting along. And then it's like, well, this is starting to go south. Oh God. And then it's like, and dead. Next relationship, right? Everything has that cycle of life. It's only when we're in the realization that all of each stage is impermanent that we can start to, if we choose, to feel, oh my God, this might be the last day. This might be the last time that any of us are going to be in this room together just like we are now. In fact, that's the truth. We will never be in this room exactly as we are right now. This now moment is impermanent. Now, tomorrow we could all show up, but we're not going to be the same as we are today. We're going to have eaten, we're going to have slept, we're going to have had conversations, our cells are going to be different. We will not be the same person tomorrow as we are right now. So this right now moment is such a supreme gift because we'll never have it again. So for us to continue to start to embrace this idea of impermanence, like, oh my God, this is the last time that I'm going to look at you just like this. Like to be sitting here just like this. We could reenact it later, but it's not going to be the same. Right? And now that I know that, I'm going to be like, oh my God, I'm going to lap this moment up. Right? Like, what if this is the last day, the last time, the last moment like this? Ooh, I'm going to be way more present. I'm going to listen. I want to hear what you have to say. Because if this is the last time I get to hear you, I want to make sure that I heard Source speak to me from this body that is in front of me. Right? And then I start to feel a lot more like joy that I get to be here right now. That I get to be here right now with you. What a gift. Oh my God, I get to be here right now with you. And there's this dance between death and joy that to me is really embracing spirituality in a different way than I need to anything. There's no need to in any of that. It's like, well, I know this is going to end. Now, how can I embrace the fullness of life in this now moment? And every time we embrace life in this now moment, then when we look back at the end of our days, we lived a life lived. We lived a life lived. We lived a life. Life lived us. Life lived through us. We were present and aware. We were clear-headed the whole time because we knew what we were doing in every now moment. And then when a feeling of sadness comes in, or a feeling of grief, or a feeling of anger, it's like, whoa, this is even impermanent. Whoa, this anxiety attack is impermanent. This fear of not being able to pay my mortgage is impermanent. This joy that I'm feeling is impermanent. Wow, this peace is impermanent. Let me embrace all that I'm feeling right now because I know that it's going to go away.
It's funny. Yeah. I mean, because I consider myself, let's think about this. Back in the day, they used to have that bell on that casket, right? And you ring it, and and then I got the feeling that no one can hear you. And I'm in that casket, and I'm saying, hey, I'm still alive. Buried, not dead, man. I mean, alive, man, And another way is to think of it is, that song with the Beatles, Nowhere Man, in the Nowhere Land. I'm going nowhere, and the thing is, it is impermanent. I mean, it's not a permanent thing because the process, because the way I'm doing it is in practice of someone, the expression that, this way and everything, it's a better way of, better look on you, right? And everybody giving me all these, acting kudos and stuff, patting on the back. Hey, Riley, you look better, right? But it's not, because I would piss someone off, then piss them off some more, and I can get this done. But this is 9 months, this process of way they, telling me to practice, I don't feel like it's like, you know, it's gonna happen. I can't wait till it happens. How about that? Yeah.
And even that, thank you
It
for
ain't a
mentioning that.
permanent thing, right?
Right. Well,
It's impermanent.
And even the feeling of looking forward to something, right? I'm really looking forward to going to Costa Rica. I am really looking forward to that, right?
Yeah.
The funny thing is, the feeling of looking forward to that is not even permanent
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
because it's going to go away in 5 minutes when I'm talking about something totally different. And then I'll feel it again and then it'll go away. And then, so here's a question. If everything is impermanent, then is death permanent?
yeah.
That's a question.
Yeah.
Now just feel into your answer, right? Just ask yourself, is death permanent? You have an answer that resonates as a truth for you. No right, no wrong.
No.
And I'm curious if anyone would be willing to share what your thoughts are is death permanent?
Connecting.
Can Robin?
Yeah, well, go ahead, Rob. Yeah.
I don't think death is permanent.
Okay.
You see, yeah.
And this is just another belief. I feel that as you move into this new energy, that you have vision of your where you've just come from. And the truth is what anybody sees is the truth. But perhaps it becomes more open-minded. And I just think of that for myself because I want my parents to know how I felt and understand my disease. But that's just a selfish thing. But I do believe in, I can talk to my mom, I can talk to my dad. I don't know what kind of form they're in, but I definitely believe that their form is here with me. The spirit is here with me. And that's just my belief, and I suppose we believe things because they make us feel better, but that's what my belief is.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Would anyone else like to share? Like, is death permanent to you? Really? No one else?
Okay.
I'm like, really? Oh, come on.
Just like Robin said, something is left. Even if you try to destroy it, something else is still. It always has a way of finding it in existence. So nothing really can be destroyed. It just changed, like Robin said. It changes, but it's still there, right? You really can't never destroy it completely. Nothing is completely destroyed. Or, you know what I'm saying, whatever, it changes, it goes through stages, it changes, but it still can identify as that, you know? So I think we just go through different, you know, changes and everything. We're not totally away, so, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, this is how I believe it, you know?
Yeah.
We just shift into a different stage, you know, and then, you know, even this universe ain't going to end because it's going to be some resistance that it was there, so we're going to have to refer to it there, because so it's still here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's still here.
Thank you for sharing that. Anyone else?
Well, I kind of feel like Robin. I think there is life after death.
Mhm.
I mean, it kind of sounds weird maybe to a lot of people, but I believe you come back, maybe in a different form, maybe as a human being, but I believe there is, I guess, reincarnation.
Mhm.
That's my belief.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Telling you what.
Yeah.
I want to add one more thing.
Yeah.
And my belief system with my parents are gone, my grandparents are gone too, but my parents are the primary. In my relationship today with my parents, I also feel like I'm able to make amends. I also feel like I can tell my mother, Dan, you are a great mother. And it was a great life, and I'm sorry. And you were the best. You know.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. You know, it's, you know, when we look at energy, is there anything, before I move on, is there anything anyone else would like to share about if you what death means to you? Okay. You know, the funny thing about energy, because everything is energy, like everything. We're all little atomic and subatomic particles bouncing around together in our body. So you can't create energy and you can't destroy energy. It just goes through cycles. You cannot create it and you cannot destroy it. It is not a possibility ever. So then it's like, well, then when we die, that means that there would be something that, right? Like, it's not like, and poof, they've disappeared,
Right,
right?
that's what I believe.
There's some energy left to this. Now, our beliefs on what that energy is very individualized and very, to me, special and unique, right? So let's say that someone has a belief that you die and you go to what has been told to be heaven. Okay, so we'll use this story. You die and you go to heaven. Okay, well, do you have a body? Are you a light orb? Do you eat? You know, do you go shopping? Is there shopping? Maybe there is for some people, maybe there isn't, right? Like how human do we make other realms of energy existence? You know, how dense do we make these other realms of existence? How annoying would we make this? Because it's like, okay, so say heaven includes shopping, right? So does that mean that you go and there's always everything you need? That all the shelves are always stacked, but it's not wasteful. Right? So then there's like all these, when we start to wrap our mind around and create realities after the reality that we know of, we have a really hard time with that. You know? Like we have a really hard time even grasping it. And so then what we do is we create these lives where we can't stay present because we're so focused on this like death. I got to do all these things before I die. I have to do all these things before I die. But why? Death is never the end. Right?
Right.
It's never the end. It's just the end as we know it. It's like today is going to be the end of this day as we know it. And nobody's like rushing around like, oh my God, I have to go buy gallons of milk because it's the last day I'm going to live. And nobody's like, I'm going to get rid of all of my things because today might be the last day. No, we just have this deep understanding that today could be the last day that we live.
Right.
And then it's our choice in every now on how we live it. Like, do we live it fully, embracing the impermanence and like, whoa, this is so dope, yo. We get to have this potential last day together. What?
But
You know?
some people are tortured in this life.
Mhm.
And choose to say what is the
That.
next experience, right?
Okay, that. So that would be the concept of hell, right? The concept of heaven we get is in these words, right? After like whatever, but we know the stories of heaven and hell, right? Like whether we believe in those realities or not, we know the stories of them. The stories of heaven are like, it's so good. So good, it's so good. And then the stories of hell is like, it's bad. That's just so bad. Stay away. Turn left. Don't pass go. Don't go there. Right? Because the concept of hell is torture. It's suffering. It's death. It's pain. Right? It's disease. It's abandonment. It's neglect. It's dark. It's uncomfortable. Mentally, physically, emotionally. Hell is all of those things. What's the difference between that and some of our thoughts? Hell can be lived now.
Definitely.
And heaven can be lived now,
I believe that, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because what if?
I agree.
What if the concepts are literally just ideas? Because concepts are ideas.
Uh-huh.
Because you ever judge being hell or heaven, I mean, just my mentality,
Do you have to be?
be judged being hell or heaven.
Yeah,
Well,
Judge,
It
I mean-
depends. It depends on the person's beliefs. So
Judge
some
George.
people believe that
Well,
only after.
Don't do them heaven, you being hell in heaven, the beliefs in hell in heaven, but you believe in somebody, something, or some situation, something, like nature or something.
Yeah.
So when you judge between those two. You get one, you can't go both. Can't
Well-
go both.
What if?
One, no, can't go both, you both.
Okay, I'm glad you said that. Thank you for sharing that. Because I don't know about you all, but some days I live a life that feels really great and heavenly, and some days I feel it. Some days I live a day that feels like hell. So then for me, I can live a day of heaven and hell and have like heaven and hell days in a week, in one day. You ever have like one of those days that like things are just going really good and you're like, this is the best day ever. And then something really shitty happens and you're like, oh my God, my life just fell apart.
Uh-huh.
Or vice versa. You know, it's like, oh God, shit day USA, life is bad. Oh my God, how am I ever going to get support? And then all of a sudden it's like some magic wand gets waved over your life and everything is all of a sudden okay. So we can live a heaven and a hell really quickly.
I just wanted to say that addiction is hell. And if you've not experienced addiction or alcoholism, that is a hell like nobody has ever known or seen because it consumes you.
I agree with that. I feel that
Column A and column B. You choose column A and then you choose column B and it stands for bad. But you know, the thing is, if you don't have choices in your life, it's ended. You don't make no choice, you ain't gonna get no answer. So column C, give me both, all these above. I want column C every freaking time because I want to learn, you know. So I won't have to choose column B, you know, or hey, column A would be nice, but right now, you know what I'm saying, I gotta hold it off until.
I'm so glad you mentioned that.
Yeah.
Because every now moment we have a choice.
Choose,
Right?
yeah.
We can choose to be in this right now and be really annoyed. Any of us right now could be really annoyed if we wanted. Or we could be really grateful right now if we wanted. It's a choice. It doesn't, and it's funny because nothing changed in the room. And we could all collectively start to feel annoyed if we wanted. Grumble, grumble. We could all start to feel really grateful that we have the freedom to even change our feelings with each other and not be judged. Oh, wow, that's cool. Nothing changed. But we have the choice on what we feel and how we perceive what we're feeling. And when we're in addiction, and I can speak for my own self for addiction and like a lot of suicidal tendencies and that patterning, that those are some dark hell feeling places where it's like, I feel alone. Nobody loves me. Everything hurts. My mind hurts. My emotional body hurts. My body, everything hurts. And I'm alone and everything feels dark no matter how sunny of a day it is, no matter how many flowers I smell. It still was so heavy and so dark and so dismal. And even that was impermanent.
Yes?
Even that was impermanent. That part of my life was impermanent. The part of my life that I'm living right now is impermanent.
Mm-hmm.
This person that gets to come to PRN, this person that gets to lead retreats, this person that gets to do online courses, this part of me right now is not permanent. I'm going to be a different person. I don't know when. I don't know what that's going to look like. It may be real similar. It may be totally different. So I really want to love who I am now because as she changes, I want to be ready for what she is becoming. Right? And it's only when we can embrace the death of this now, of anything, that we can at the same time truly start to embrace what is becoming, what is being born again, what new is coming through. If I sit in judgment of who I am or the life that I'm living, then I'm not embracing the impermanence, and then I'll hold it even longer. Does that make sense?
Because that goes to beginning when I was saying the spirituality of being in the now. Because I can be in column A or I can be in column B, but I choose column C above all. You know, everything. I want it all because the life, you know, you share with someone is because they have something to offer. They got meat on their conversation. They don't have no casual conversation. I'm really not a guy of conversationist, right? So I'm not gonna be interested, but if they have some meat to it, you know, I'm listening and I enjoy the ride.
I'm so glad you mentioned that. I want to speak to that. Real quick, Mama Jane says, a lot of times we cause our hell on earth.
Oh yeah.
I feel that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that.
I agree.
And doesn't it suck when, I don't know, I'm gonna speak this and it's going to sound like a statement, but it's a question. Don't you hate it when you see other people that are creating their life like hell, and you see them suffering and you see them in pain, and you really just want to help it, and you want to change it, and you want to save them, or you want to prove that you can help them?
Right.
Man, and then like they don't reach for you, or they don't reach back, or they take your hand and then they throw it away when now you're in the water with them and now you got to dry yourself off. And how funny is it that because we don't accept where they are, we don't accept the impermanence of where they are. Because we assume that they're always going to be suffering unless I help.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
But that's a story.
I want to say the word.
Yeah. And that's just a story that we tell ourselves. Even the stories we tell ourselves are not permanent.
Right.
They can be. We can change that story. You know, we have column A, we have column B, we have column C. Screw this. I like column J.
Oh, cool.
I'm going to make up a whole new column. And it's going to be column Jane.
Yeah.
You know, because you mentioned something earlier that you don't want to be selfish, right? And then Alan mentioned, you know, looking for this God source.
Right.
What if, right? What if the concept of spirituality, right? We're looking for something bigger than us, outside of ourselves. We're looking for this nebulous of love that holds all of life within it, right? That the cells that it has created are dancing nicely. And what part of the cell am I to serve? To serve this being of God or whatever. Forgetting that what if I am a version and aspect of God, and every cell in my body is working to serve the wholeness of me. So now I am God, goddess, whatever the word, I am source. And I have all of my parts that are working together to serve the whole. And then what if you are God with all of your parts working to serve the whole, and you're God working with all of your parts to serve the whole of love that you are. And then what if, hang on,
the
and then,
selfish program.
oh yeah, and then what if what we're serving is just harmony and balance? My cells in my body are really just working to be in harmony and balance with each other. That's all my body is doing. That's what we do with our pH in our body, our oxygen. That's why we breathe in and we breathe out. We're not just breathing in the whole time. We're always coming into balance and in harmony, right? This is what life energy does. We're not telling it what to do. We're just trusting that it's all working together, and we're just living as that. So then if you take the concept of the big God, goddess, universe outside, then wouldn't each of us be a cell trying to figure out how we can work together to be in harmony and peace with each other so that we can all together serve the oneness, whatever that oneness is, the universe, God, goddess, source, whatever the word is, the nameless wonder.
For me, you know, and of course I was raised Catholic. For me, the only thing that I have to have, and I think you probably explained it, is I have to have this oneness definitely outside of me, even though I might, because I have to believe that this oneness can create miracles. I've had miracles in my life, you know, getting sober, blah, blah, blah. I found found a vegetarian sandwich that nobody had touched. It was on the road. Yes.
So good.
And I was starved. Anyway, so you see what I'm trying to say? Because when I wake up in the morning, I know I've got some issues, whatever it is, money, blah, blah, blah. I feel this energy that walks with me, or no problem, we got this. The impermanence, I'm going to add that, the impermanence of this situation is a good thing, because maybe two weeks down the road it'll change, and it'll change for the better. Does any of that make sense?
Yeah, totally. I'm glad you shared that, because think about this. You know, I like to draw the awareness of great spirit, the great mystery being outside of ourselves as it is inside.
Okay.
Because if we are made in the reflection of, what is a reflection? What is a reflection? It's a mirror image. What is that? It's the same thing.
The same thing, yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing, yeah.
It is the same thing.
And I'm going
So
out
to-
with that aura.
Yeah,
You
so
know, that mutation, and just like Robin said, finding that vegetarian sandwich in the roll. I mean, things like that done happen to me. I've been having like this funky like feeling walking and everything, and thinking in my mind that, you know, I would like to have a cigarette. And then guess what in the road is a unlit cigarette,
Right.
you know, that fell on the freaking ground.
Right.
That it was, you know, and just that thought of me saying it out my mouth maybe sometimes,
Right.
you know, just putting it in order, because anything you say out your mouth comes to fruition. I said, hey, I wish I had a cigarette, and then an unlit cigarette that no one, it fell out of somebody's back or hand or whatever, was there on the road, and I pick it up, and you know what, I'm feeling a groovy, I'll experience something like looking down on me, you know,
Yeah,
type
right.
feeling.
So to that, right? It's that awareness, perhaps. Yeah. Maybe it's an awareness or an acknowledgement that there is something outside of me, bigger than me, that loves me and that holds me and that supports my well-being more than I'll ever know.
Right.
And I am also that I am a great mystery that holds me and supports me and loves me more than I'll ever know. Two can be true. It doesn't have to be one or the other. More than one truth can be, right? And I think that's what a lot of things have happened in a lot of religions, that they've taken this God and said, it's only outside of you.
Mhm.
Well, then if it's only outside of me, then I'll never be as good as. I'll always try to be better, be better, be better. And then I never accept who I am, which is not in alignment with any of the actual spiritual teachings from Jesus to the indigenous to Buddha to all of them. It was to recognize that you are that is, and that there is no separation. And then the big conundrum is like, well, then how do we live? You know, like,
Yeah.
if we recognize that I am the great mystery,
Right.
you know, well, then how do we live? Well, that's, you know, that's the daily.
Daily.
That's the, well, I just got today. So let's
One day
see,
at a time.
let's see how Source lives through me today.
Yeah.
Let's see how Source gives me opportunities. Let's see how I give myself opportunities.
Right.
You know, not giving all of the power to something outside of ourselves, but also not taking all of the responsibility
Right.
on ourselves,
Right.
but finding that balance.
And
It's
come
like
from-
death. It's like death and joy.
it's
Finding
come-
permanence, a permanent space of peace in the impermanence of the reality that we're living in.
every day.
You know? And that, to me, that's all we can do. You know, thank you. To me, that's all we can do.
Yeah.
So, an invitation as we start to close this the wobbly arms.
Mhm.
So what if for the next week we lived every day like it's our last?
Wow.
Like, what if,
That said, oh man,
you know?
I'm doing some things in my existence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's just if you want to play this with me, this game of life, and then we can check back next week to see who made it. You know, who made it to next week?
Yeah.
You know, who makes it to the end of the day? Who makes it through tomorrow? Who makes it through with peace? Who makes it through with joy? Who makes it through with anger? How are we going to get through it? Doesn't matter, because even this next week is impermanent.
So at the end of the day, if you say you just have a conversation with what you think is your higher power or whatever, and you say thank you for the day, go to sleep, and that ends the day, right?
Why not?
I put in my, like something Alan said like 3 years ago, I grade my day and it's 100%. I couldn't do nothing no different, no
Right.
better than what I grade my day, you know?
Yeah, and every day hopefully gets
Alan
100.
did that thought.
Yeah.
I like it. It's gonna be a challenge and I think it's a discipline, but I want to live one day at a time because I'm much happier living one day at a time.
Yeah.
But it takes concentration and it takes really thinking about it, you know?
Yeah. It takes being present,
Present.
you know, and being aware that, like, I deserve to. I am worthy of. I deserve to feel good. I am worthy of being present with myself. I'm worthy of experiencing this life to the fullest. I'm worthy of life experiencing itself through me. I am a worthy container of life energy,
Right,
right?
right.
And it's just reminding ourselves of these things, that we're spiritual beings and we're humans. And we're learning how to do this dance between the great mystery and the great known, discovering all of the infinite of everything in the unknown, right?
Makes
So,
sense.
so let's just take a deep breath together and let it go. Even silence is impermanent. Sound is impermanent. It's always moving. We're always moving. We're always growing. We're always changing. We're always discovering. So may we walk these next steps in our life into this eternal now with as much grace as possible, with as much joy as possible, and embrace every living moment that we have with each other and with ourselves. Deal?
Deal.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Thanks for being here. Thanks for like being back in the real life expansions. Not recorded. Woo! Good morning, Taylor. It's good to see you. Thanks for joining, y'all. Have a good day. See y'all next week. Thursdays, 10 a.m. Tell your friends, join me live.
That's right.